guys, so today I'm doing a review for Followed by Frost by Charlie and Holmberg. So the first portion of the review will be completely non-spoiler. I'm not going to give anything away, and then the second part I'm going to dive into some spoilers for those of you who have read it. So Followed by Frost is about a girl named Smitha who is this very beautiful, very popular girl in her little town. She is kind of mean. She is very self-important, you could say, and she ends up being quite harsh and turning down a marriage proposal to this man who ends up cursing her to be followed by frost. Basically everything she touches freezes, her whole body turns cold, she is forever freezing, a giant winter snowstorm follows her wherever she goes, and that's kind of where the story kicks off. So the pros for this story I felt like were really easy to follow. I ripped through this book in about a day. I would say it gets a little flowery at times, but I actually appreciated the detailed description. I felt like it really helped me immerse into the story. The pacing is actually somewhat slow. It's not like a bam 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 hit you story. It's very methodical and slow paced, but just with the character dynamics, it's very intriguing. It really wraps you up for about the first half of the book. Really had me. I just could not stop reading for the first half, and then I did finish it, but the second half kind of let me down just a little bit, I will say. So as far as plot goes, I did not expect it to go where it went. The setting is kind of old-timey, fantastical. It's like very much like medieval, I would say. The tone of the book is actually really kind of dark in the beginning. It sets a tone of it's going to be a tragedy, at least for me. That's kind of what the tone was set in the very beginning. As far as the characters go, I feel like our main character, Smitha, she was very multi-dimensional. I loved that she had a character arc, that she grew throughout the story. And we have another character, which is the character of Death, which was my favorite character. I feel like he had such an interesting story and ideas to him. But I do feel like the characters were well done. So the things about this book that I didn't love is I feel like we set a tone, a specific tone and a specific mood. We made specific promises at the very beginning of the book, and I personally don't feel like those promises were fulfilled. I feel like the tone shifted halfway through the book, and it went in a direction that I wasn't expecting, and it wasn't really all that satisfying to me, which was really sad because for the first half I was so enthralled, I was so gripped, and I was enthralled with the character of Death and the ideas that were being floated around. I just was really excited to see where it goes. I feel like there were certain avenues that were opened up, these different courses of action that our main character could have taken that would have thrust us into this grand adventure, and I feel like those opportunities were passed by and we went this weird direction that I wasn't expecting, and I don't feel like there was precedent set for that. So that was a little disappointing, which was why I probably wouldn't necessarily recommend this book as being like the most amazing book ever. I mean, it was still entertaining. Like, I finished it. It kind of definitely slowed way down. There was just this portion about 3/4 of the way through where it just slows way down, and that was really hard to get through. Those were the things that I had a hard time with this book. But other than that, it was entertaining. I really loved the concept. I just don't feel like it was executed as well as I would have hoped. I feel like for such an amazing concept and for such a great direction and so many things that were opened up, I can't say very much without spoiling it, but I just feel like there were so many opportunities for this book to really flourish and become something awesome, but I feel like those opportunities were passed by and it was kind of stunted, I guess, a little bit. So that's all I have for non-spoilers. I'm going to move into the spoiler portion, so if you haven't read it and you don't want to be spoiled for it, then click off this video now. Okay, so for spoilers, I absolutely loved the character of Death. I felt like his fascination with her and this idea that he's lonely but he doesn't really have emotions, and this, I feel like he was a very complex character, but I feel like it was totally missed. I feel like he would just show up every now and again and be like, hey, like, come with me to the underworld and, like, you know, we can be together or whatever, and then she'd be like, no, and he'd like leave. And it was just this constant back and forth, which I got to an extent, but I felt like I really wanted more from his character. I wanted to see more of his motivations, and I wanted to see more of, I just feel like there was so much more that could have been done with him and been done with that instead of this just nagging. I mean, he was kind of an antagonist a little bit, but he wasn't really an antagonist. I feel like he was what the antagonist was supposed to be, like an embodiment of her curse, but it was just not gone. I feel like it wasn't gone all the way. Like, we didn't really make him an antagonist. Like, we didn't really explore that avenues and really give him a good role and let him really influence the story. And I just feel like that was a missed opportunity because I really enjoyed his character. I just don't feel like it was enough for me. I wanted more. And also the part where she travels north and she goes and finds like the wizard place or whatever, and there's this all this cool stuff going on. It's kind of creepy and terrifying and also like really intriguing, and then she just like turns around and is like, oh, that's scary, I don't want to deal with that. And I'm just like, heck, girl, you are cursed for eternity to be freezing. Like, wouldn't you do anything at this point? Like, she even gives in to death at one point, right? She's like, oh, okay, fine, like, I'm so miserable, like, take me. And then she's like, no, just kidding, I want to be miserable. But it's like, if you're willing to die to get rid of this curse, even just for a moment, like, why aren't you willing to venture into this wizard place to try to find someone to lift the curse, like, no matter how slim that chance is? Like, for me, it just didn't make any sense for her to turn around. And also, it just opened up to us readers like this whole, like, all this magic and wizards and cool stuff, and I was like, oh, this is the start of a grand adventure. Like, she's gonna go find a wizard and try to get him to lift the curse, and then they're gonna go on this adventure, and it's gonna be these cool dynamics, and we're gonna see more of the magic system and all this stuff. And then she's just like, nope, bye, and turns around. And I was like, what? I was so sad. I was like, that was where I thought the story was going. Like, that's where it was set up for it to go. And then instead she gets picked up by these like southerners who like are like, oh, come, you know, save us from a drought. And I was like, what? I didn't see that coming at all. Like, I guess the cover there was sand, so maybe, I don't know. I didn't put that together. I just didn't seem like, I don't know. I was grateful that something was happening when it started happening, because she was kind of just alone in the forest for a really long time, and I was like, okay, like, what's going to happen here? Like, she's got to have some kind of motivation to do something other than just survive. And so I was glad that something happened and that she kind of had a purpose, but then she ends up in this cave for like weeks and weeks and nothing happens. She's just in this cave, and I'm like, that's the part that just slowed way down. I was like, why is she in this cave? Like, what is the point of this? How is this pushing the story forward? And then it turned into this fairy tale romance, and I was just like, I mean, it mentioned some romance in the description of the book, but I kind of thought it was going to be a subplot, not that it was going to take over the whole of the story and completely turn into. I just feel like the first and the second half of the book were so disconnected. Like, I was expecting this grand epic adventure, and then I just get this romance, and then this fairy tale happy ending. Like, what? The curse is lifted because she is selfless? Like, I'm sorry, am I completely dull for not seeing that coming? Like, I thought that this wasn't a fairy tale. I thought this was kind of a fairy tale flipped on its head. Like, I was expecting this trope to be kind of flipped upside down and to have, like, it not be a fairy tale, but then the curse is lifted and she gets to be with the person she loves, and in the end she's pregnant and married, and I'm just like, I did not see that coming at all. I just feel like that ending was really disappointing for me, and I felt like it was a huge missed opportunity. Like, I didn't want her to just get cured from the curse. Like, I didn't want that. Like, I wasn't expecting that, and I don't know, it was really frustrating. Sorry, I'm just ranting at this point, saying the same thing over and over again, but I don't know, if you have read it, please comment down below and tell me what you thought. Obviously, like, warn people, say that you're talking about the ending so you don't spoil anybody, but I really definitely want to hear what you guys think if you've read this book, because I don't know, the ending was just really disappointing for me. So that's pretty much all I have for this book. If you like this video, definitely give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time.